Well, I thought I would just do a little check-in here. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Victoria, and I am attempting to realize my dream of traveling around the country in my RV full-time. And I am now on a 6-week test trip to see, if I can do it, and whether or not I want to give up my home where I live, and which is kind of a big deal for me, and then get on the road full time. So it's been a little bit over a month now since I've been on the road, and I just wanted to give a little bit of an update about where I'm at, in terms of like, can I do this or can I not do this? And to be honest, this trip has had its highs and its lows, as kind of expected, but it's kind of funny how they're much more kind of drastic than I thought they might be. In terms of like, I've seen some beautiful places on this trip, and I've been awestruck and filled with wonder and awe. And just absolutely love the sightseeing aspect and seeing all the beauty of this country. And on the other hand, there's been a lot of challenges for me, and both physical and mental. So like I said, this trip has had its highs and lows, and there's a couple of things. There's actually a lot, but the two main things that have been concerning me is that physically, it's just really hard for me. And I keep wondering, am I too old now to do this? I'm not really fit, anymore. And I've had back problems for the last 15 years. And this entire trip, my neck and my back have been hurting me considerably. Because I'm just a lot more, doing a lot more. I'm bending over, I'm twisting, I'm kneeling down, I'm, picking things up and heavy things and all this stuff. So it's just more challenging on me physically. It's it's a lot for a 67-year-old lady to do all this physical work. But I do have conditions. I have osteoarthritis, I have some scoliosis, and I have what do you call it, I forget the name of it, but when the discs start thinning. So, it's just, I just have age-related stuff going on. My knees, thankfully, are still great, so I can kneel for a time and I can walk, but it's my back that's my main weak point. And so it's been bothering me a great deal, and my neck also a lot more than usual. And I think it's, partly because I'm working at a very uncomfortable, non-ergonomic desk, so I get into pain there. And so if I can't figure out a way to work ergonomically in here, then that's going to be sort of like the barrier to me getting out here, because that's critical for me to be able to work on the road, and comfortably so. If I'm doing like this when I'm doing the keyboard, then I'm going to have neck pain, So that's the concern physically. It's just the physical labor of all of this. And then secondly, mentally, it's been challenging for me. Mainly, I would say the driving has really been challenging and anxiety producing for me. I hate getting on the highways and going at the high speeds, or being on 2-lane highways and people are, following close behind. And you feel that pressure. And then the winds have been a factor on this trip too, which scare me a lot, because I can feel the rig being pulled around. But the driving in it is really scary for me, and just driving in general, going up hills and mountains is hard for my rig. It really can't go very fast. I mean, I'm only able to get it up to about 50 miles per hour on a hill, on a mountain. I suppose if I floored it, I could go faster, but I don't want to do that to the transmission. I don't want to floor it. So, that's scary too. I just think, gosh, am I going to be worried about mountains and hills and all the time? I was looking at the fact that I have moved 9 times in the last month, gone to at least 9 different campgrounds, if not more. So that's a lot of moving. So no wonder, my back is hurting me so much. It's a lot of work to, break camp and then set up camp and move and unhook everything and do all that. If I get out on the road full time, I was thinking yesterday what I need to do probably is stay much longer, in camping spots. And that will give my back a break, So for example, maybe stay at least a week, because I know that I can boondock in here for at least a week pretty comfortably without really, conserving and sacrificing. So I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe what you could do is do a week of boondocking and then a week of hookup camping and then a week of boondocking, and then, in other words, just keep rotating and only moving like 4 times a month, and doing hookups only about 2 weeks a month. But I have realized on this trip that there's no way I could do full-time boondocking. It's just not possible for me physically. Hauling the heavy batteries around and the solar panels and the bending over and the kneeling, and there's already a lot that I have to do. I got to set up my office every time, and it's just not physically possible for me to do boondocking 100%. I've realized that on this trip. It's not a realistic thing for me. So that's where I'm at. I'm thinking, maybe I can do this if I slow down my travel and try to find better deals. Yeah, so I have a dilemma. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's not become totally clear to me yet as to what to do. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. If you guys have any insights about, what I just talked about, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much. I left my Death Valley Furnace Creek campground this morning. I actually ended up booking one more night because the winds were just so bad that I didn't want to drive in those winds. And thankfully the winds died down today, Saturday. And so now I feel comfortable enough to drive. This road that I'm on to leave Death Valley is nice and level, and there's been hardly any other cars, and to me this is like the perfect low-stress driving situation for me. It's nice and flat, there's hardly any other cars, and I have it to myself. I can go whatever speed I want. I'm only at 55 miles per hour right now, and I can sort of drive slower and take in the gorgeous scenery of Death Valley. Yeah, the winds have been pretty prevalent during this entire trip, so I guess the desert is pretty windy in the wintertime, and it's not been too fun, as I mentioned before, but yeah, I have just let's see, today's Saturday. On Monday I have just as of Monday I just have about a week left of my trip, and then it'll be sort of like decision time to figure out whether or not I can do this lifestyle. To be real honest, it's been kind of a mixed bag for sure, there's days where I'm like, no way, can I do this lifestyle? And other days I'm like, yes, I must do this lifestyle. So I'm kind of confused because at this point it's kind of 50-50. And so I'm not driving in the real populated areas, and unfortunately I think I'm going to be in kind of a populated area later today and then tomorrow, so we'll see how I do stress-wise. I did pass what looked like some dispersed camping, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to do dispersed camping out here? But you know, there's not. It's kind of, I think, rather far away from, you know, grocery stores and gas station stuff, so you'd have to plan that out very well for sure. Yeah, you know, I feel like I would end up spending more on this lifestyle than I would at home, but less than if I tried to maintain my home base and travel at the same time, because I ran the numbers both ways. And if the cheapest way is, of course, for me to just stay in my home base and not travel ever, except for the, you know, odd weekend here and there or 2-week vacation a year. But if I want to do more travel than that, then I'm ended up spending more. So this lifestyle is more than if I was to just have a home base and not travel, but less than if I was to keep my home base and try and do a couple of trips a year. You know, I did some research, and the average cost, daily cost to travel is around $250 to $300 a day. So travel is expensive, you know, between the flights and the rental cars and the accommodations. And if you're eating out a lot, that adds to the expense as well. Then, you know, it gets rather expensive. So I couldn't really, you know, then I'm back to really just doing minimal amount of travel. So, but I have deep reservations about whether or not I can handle this lifestyle mentally and physically. So I have a lot of thinking to do for sure, and trying to figure out what's going to be the best answer for me. I'm doing my laundry right now. Can you tell? Can you tell that I'm doing my laundry? My clothes are in the dryer and they have to be in there for an hour, so I thought, well, why don't I just come inside my little home and lay down and give my butt and my back a little rest, because I've been driving for 3 hours. So this is really nice, I must say. Wowza, wowza, wowza. I'm in Barstow, California, and I thought, let me do the laundry. I've got away with not doing laundry for 5 weeks now, nearly 5 weeks. Yeah, no, today's 5 weeks. So needless to say, I brought lots and lots of undergarments to last me a while. So I can see that that's the most important thing, is to have lots of undergarments with you. So I just came from Death Valley, which was, you know, like I mentioned before, and it was in the kind of low 80s, upper 70s, low 80s for the last several days. Now I'm going into some weather that's quite different. It's going to be freezing temps over the next few nights, and going to be daily highs are only going to be in the upper 50s. So quite a range of temperatures, I tell you. You know, it's like, wow, okay, you experience a lot of range of temperatures, especially, I guess, since I'm moving around a lot. That's probably has something to do with it. But yeah, I'm glad I have this option to be in my little house and wait out for my laundry. Well, I picked a very unusual overnight spot. That was on iOverlander. I am at the Barstow outlets. I just arrived before sundown, and I just went to the welcome center that they have here and, you know, checked in with them. There's a welcome center right there. and checked in with them, and they took down my information, and they said they have security overnight and that it's very safe. So this is great. You probably will hear some freeway noise since there's a freeway or busy highway right there. So I don't know, maybe I'll repark somewhere a little farther away, but she told me that, you know, this was a good spot, so perhaps I'll just stay. But yeah, the mall here closes at 7 o'clock, so maybe I'll go walk around and shop. Just window shop and take a look around. There's some good stores here. Barstow Outlets. I like this store. It smells like leather in here. night's sleep here at the outlets in Barstow, and there was no other RVers here with me. There's some cars, so they must be employees that arrived this morning. It's still pretty early. I think it's 7:38 a.m., but it was nice and quiet here, so I had a good night's rest. I'm off now to my next destination, and I'm feeling a little nervous because I have to go over Tehachapi Pass in California, which is a summit of about 4,000 feet. And on my flattestroute.com, there are some black areas, but it's not too bad. And in fact, it seems to be a bit easier than the Grapevine off of Highway 5. So I know I've done Highway 5, and it's not easy, but I did it. So I figure I can do this Tehachapi Pass. But it's only, I think, 2 lanes, which makes me a little nervous. I don't like that. So I'm feeling a little nervous, but hopefully I will get over the pass just fine and make it to my next destination, which is Bakersfield. Okay, well, I made it. I'm now in Bakersfield. That wasn't too bad. In fact, I think it was easier than the Grapevine, the Tehachapi Pass off Highway 5. It seems like the Tehachapi Pass has a much longer ascent and a much longer descent, where this was, the ascents weren't too bad, and they were kind of short-lived. There was a long descent, but the grade was just 6%, which wasn't bad at all. So the steepness score that flattestroute.com gave this was 12,500. So that's good to know. Now I know that if there's a steepness score of around that I can easily manage it okay. So yeah, I mean, I kind of, go a bit slow. I'm only going about 60 to 62 miles per hour for the most part, and even truckers were going around me. Even though, the speed limit was supposed to be around 55, but people always go faster, of course. But yeah, when I go on ascents, if I have enough time to really build up my speed, like just now in the last part of it, there was a nice flat stretch where I could build up my speed to 65, so that when I started the ascent, I only went down to 60 miles per hour. Whereas if there's not enough time for me to build up speed before the ascent, then I'm only going about 50 miles per hour. So that's pretty slow, but I don't want to floor it and ruin the transmission or anything. So, it's fine by me. If people want to go around me, just go around me. It's fine. So anyways, that was good. So I'm now in Bakersfield. I have a few hours to kill. I won't probably check in until mid-afternoon to my, I'm staying at a Boondockers Welcome place here in Bakersfield. And then I go on to my next place, which is a campground for 5 nights. So I broke up this trip, to just make it more manageable for myself. And so I have some time to kill. I'm kind of hungry because I haven't eaten yet today. So I'm just pulled up to a, what's this place called again? Oh yeah, I like it, Panda Express. So it's going to be kind of my little bit of an early lunch. And then I might try and see if there's any sightseeing or anything interesting that I can check out. I do need to do some grocery shopping. They don't have a Whole Foods here in Bakersfield, but they do have a Sprouts, which is another store that I like. So we'll check out Sprouts a little later. Okay, I'm gonna go eat now. Talk to you later. I'm a little out of place driving my big, RV in these shopping center parking lots. But I'm getting pretty good at parking and navigating these small spaces. So I want to go to Sprouts, over there. So I'm just going to park way in the back here. Oops, there's glass in that spot. Let's go over one. I just have to watch out for tree branches and stuff. But yeah, I'm building my confidence with parking in towns. Well, I've just arrived to my Boondockers Welcome spot in Bakersfield, and it's a nice neighborhood. It's like an estates neighborhood, and they told me just park on the street, and it's nice and level, and I'm sure it's going to be nice and quiet here. Probably the prettiest spot that I've camped so far on Boondockers Welcome. So I had a great night at my Boondockers Welcome last night. It was real quiet and peaceful, and slept great, and got up kind of early this morning, and I only was about an hour and a half from my next campground, so I had a lot of time. I have a lot of time to kill. So I decided to make this stop in a little town called Porterville. And this place is listed on my Atlas Obscura website app, and it's called the Zalud House. And they hold weddings in the Rose Garden here. So let me. I just got here, so let's look around and see what it's all about, and I'll tell you what I know about it. So the Zalud family lived here. They built this house in 1891. And the father of the family had a successful saloon and card game room in the back that was pretty successful. So I guess they could afford to build this beautiful house. But unfortunately, a lot of tragedies happen in about a decade's time, where a daughter died of, I think it was tuberculosis, and then a son died, and then the father was killed sitting in a rocking chair, and he was shot by this woman that he apparently had an affair with and said defamatory things about her. So she shot and killed him. And inside of this house, unfortunately, it's not open today. It won't be open until later this week. Oh, there's a hi kitty. Hey, sweetie. And you know, it's about 20 minutes from where I'll be camping, but the weather's supposed to turn pretty bad later this week. Thursday is supposed to be a big storm coming in. So I thought, let me just go look at it now, and maybe if the weather's nice enough, I can come to the museum. It's only a $3 entrance fee, because I love this kind of thing. I love old homes like this, and look at that. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. But what I was about to say is, apparently that chair that the father was killed in is on display inside of this museum, the bullet holes and all. And it also has all of the original furniture of the Zalud family in there. So that would be really cool to see. I would love to see that. One of the children, Pearl, I think her name was, came to live here in the last 10 years of her life. So like about 1952 to 1962, she came to live here. And then it was given to the city, I believe. There's a plaque there that's, I don't know if I can really read it. John and Mary Zalud moved to Porterville. Let's see if we can see this. It's kind of hard writing to read. In 1890 with their children, Anne, Edward, and Pearl, the Zalud family moved into their newly built home in 1891. I can't quite read it, but Mr. Zalud opened a saloon in downtown Porterville, and by 1944, Gwen. Yeah, I really can't read it from there.